Giving credit to the Savior, so you know I'm approved. Whole team Olympiads, cause I run with the best. Sending shots, not a problem that I need to address. If the message leave them blue, then they left it on red. Olive Garden rappers, most of y'all just here for the bread.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Grounded Podcast. I'm Marissa.
And I'm Michelle.
And today we're going to be talking about accountability. Man, accountability. I
feel like we've touched on this a little bit in, other episodes, but we're going to dive a little bit deeper today because not only are we talking about holding ourselves accountable, but also having an accountability partner.
Yeah, holding the people around you accountable.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. So there's many different ways where we hold hold ourselves and each other accountable. But I think today we're more talking about holding each other accountable with our relationship with God and with our relationship, our spiritual journey. For an example, if you're someone who isn't normally in the process of reading the Bible every day or spending time with God every day, whether it's in prayer or in scripture, having an accountability partner would help you, to hey, you remember to, read the Bible tonight, something like that. Not someone to be a parent to you, just to hold you accountable, did you X, Y, and Z? Marissa and I started our Bible studies on Fridays, so that's how we hold each other accountable to make sure that we're staying in the Word. It doesn't have to be every day, but we picked one day out of the week to hold each other accountable.
We'd be in the Word every day, but we don't have Bible study.
We don't have Bible study every day, but no, the Bible study is what we use to hold to hold each other accountable. We also have our individual accountabilities that we hold ourselves, when I know a while back, I don't know if your schedule's still the same, you used to spend or the late nights going to 2-3 o'clock in the morning, to spend time with God. For me, it's right before I go to sleep, so that could be anywhere between 9 and 10 o'clock at nighttime. So that's a routine thing that we do. But also with each other, the purpose of our Bible studies is to align ourselves, our individual selves spiritually together, especially and with God, especially for the sake of this podcast. We never want to be on different pages. We always want to be, to make sure hey, this is my perspective, this is your perspective, but let's just make sure we're seeing it the same way.
Yeah, and we also don't want something to happen in our life to get too hectic to where maybe one of us might fall off reading the Word, but we're still coming on here talking.
Right.
It's kind of iron sharpens iron. So in us putting a Bible study, it's kind of okay, we know that we're accountable because even with our Bible study, we kind of ask a question that leads for the application part of the Bible study. And we have a shared note where we have until 2 days before the Bible study to answer that prompt. So it holds us accountable, to each other, but also
individually.
Yeah, individually we have to.
Because we have an assignment. We give ourselves an assignment to do.
Because if we don't, I feel we'll just be okay, yeah, I did it. And then we would come, if we don't have to write it in a shared thing a few days before, we would come back together and just do it off the top of our head rather than, and it sounds bad.
Not even only that, but people as humans, people wait till the last minute to do their homework. Yeah. Literally an hour before I'm about to walk into class. Hey, Marissa, you did the homework. Let me copy off your paper real quick. Copy off your paper real quick. But no, that's why we have accountability to make sure throughout the week we're doing what we need to be doing. So that way the day that it's time to perform, we're on the same page.
Because you can't answer the prompt that we give without actually diving into the Word. It's not a service thing where you could be oh, okay, let me just. No, you would have had to been reading and getting revelation from God. But I also think that how you were saying it's about our accountability with God and everything. But I also think holding each other accountable to maybe relationships or the way that we handle other things, that also is another way to help us stay accountable with God, because he does instruct us to handle our relationships in a particular way. So if we're just holding, obviously if you're, it's not obvious. If you're in line with God, you're more likely to handle those relationships properly anyways. But just kind of as a reminder, if we see like a slip in an area, maybe in a relationship or with work or with, I don't know, in a friendship or something, we would kind of remind each other like, God said, whatever it is.
Yeah, but not only that, but in our last episode we talked a little bit about accountability in this way of when we were talking about with our guests spiritual alignment. So the biggest thing about accountability is making sure, for us though, that we're spiritually aligned with God, most importantly, and spiritually aligned with what we say to each other as well too, because we have to be in an agreement, because
or else we're not going to really understand what, then
we don't also want people looking at us like, okay, she's talking about this, but Marissa's talking about that. It's like, are they on the same page? No, we are. I really do mean it. Like, for the most part, I think we know each other well enough to just not think for each other, but
I kind of know what you're trying to say,
exactly.
or like anything
if
that.
I can't verbalize it or communicate it,
that's why a lot of times we'll finish each
seriously, it's not even us talking over each other, it's really us what, that's exactly what I was trying to say.
And also I think accountability is a touchy subject for a lot of people. You always hear, you're a Christian, you're not supposed to judge people, you can't be judgmental. Let me figure out how to say this properly.
Okay.
We're called
somebody's feelings get hurt.
We're called to judge righteously, right? Which means as believers, we know that we're supposed to be held to a certain standard. So I'm not going to be like, I'm just going to let so-and-so do whatever they want to do, even though I know that they believe in God or they proclaim to be a Christian. But I'm just going to let them not represent it at all because I don't want to look like I'm judging. No, I need to tell you what you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Judging righteously means believers are called to live righteously. So if we're in an instance where maybe something is causing us not to be righteous, we can judge those things. Also, the Bible does tell us to judge the fruits of a person to know them. Mm-hmm. So if we couldn't judge at all, why would he call us to judge the fruits? You know what I mean? You would know them by their fruits. And I think we can't be judgmental in general, not like, I'm better than you. Mm-hmm. That's being prideful in your judgment. That judgment doesn't come out of love, but when it's coming out of love and coming at a place where sometimes the Holy Spirit might tell you to rebuke somebody about something that's going on, but they might take it as a judgment, but it's not necessarily doing that. It's evaluating what's going on. It's judging the fruit of whatever it is.
And I think one of us did mention this scripture, and it's kind of an extreme, but I'll roll it back to see how it connects. The Bible says you deny the Father and he'll deny you too. But that's the same thing when you don't hold somebody account, especially as Christians. We see other Christians, and there's so many denominations, like whether you're like, what are all the different examples? Like Baptist or, like.
I was about to say Presbyterian.
I'm
not trying to talk about, I'm just saying, I really was thinking, that's why I was sitting there thinking like, I almost said pescatarian, but you know what I mean.
Father. Okay. In all seriousness, no, like he tells us, there's so many denominations of what people believe in when they go to church, like whether you're a Catholic or a Baptist or Jehovah's Witness, like
those are different. Yeah,
all of those different things. Like, so when one Christian says to another Christian like something that's in the Bible, I'm gonna hold you to that. Or like when a pastor is talking, I'm gonna hold you to that.
Yeah.
But if you know what they're saying is wrong and you just still go along with it, that's no different.
Yeah.
Than you just lying on God.
Right. Yeah. And it's not even, I got my feelings about Catholic and Jehovah's Witness, but that's true though. But he also didn't call us to have all these denominations. He didn't say, oh, the Baptist people will be doing this, the non-denominationals will be doing that. You know what I mean? Like, we did that as humans. He put the truth out there, period, and we put our, I mean, not gonna say we put our own spin on it, but
kind
you know
of.
what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, kind of. Because everybody interprets the Bible the way that they want to interpret the Bible, instead of reading it.
Sometimes they'll go based off of what their preacher said rather than going back
and taking the time to study it for years. Here's the thing. Sidebar. What is non-denominational? Like, so you don't believe in anything?
No, non-denominational is they don't subscribe to being Baptist or anything. They're just Jesus. Like, it's just Jesus. You know what I'm saying?
All right, well, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah. No, I mean, like,
flew past me.
No, because you know how we were just saying how different denominations. You know how you just said different denominations like kind of do different things. They kind of don't subscribe to those things. They just kind of subscribe to whatever God said about. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Yeah. But as far as judgment goes, a lot of people consider things you being judgmental when it's not at all. So even though we are called to live righteously, I mean, that too, live righteously. See, that was God, because I wasn't trying to say that. To judge righteously, there's also some things that you might say to somebody and they'll take it as something else. So a lot of times, like, oh,
but that's perspective.
Yeah, like I see all the time, like, Christians aren't supposed to be judging people. They didn't judge you. They just told you what you were doing was wrong. That's not a judgment. When your family or your mom as a kid, I mean, mom tells you as a kid, don't do that. You know what I mean? Like, you're getting into this or this is wrong. She's not judging you. She's just telling you, what is. So.
Well, I mean, but then there are those people, I guess they're saying, we go to church and you have a crop shirt on, and I'm going to church with a full-blown blouse and a jacket.
I do know some people be judged. Yeah,
and but I was like, saying, why is she wearing that and we're in church? Or like,
it's kind of like because let me. And
then I really hate when people misquote the Bible, because the Lord does tell you, come as you are. But there is a standard of what come as you are is, okay?
Come as you are means all the hurt, all the trauma, all the pain, everything.
Yeah, it's not flip-flops and...
I mean, I don't be tripping, but...
No, but what I'm saying, what I mean by that is, like...
That doesn't... It's not a ticket to do
to do whatever you want to do, like...
Because he said, come as you are, don't stay as you are. I mean, he didn't say don't, but
True,
that's what he...
But my thing is... And this is why I said what I said is, if I can go to work at a job and not wear flip-flops and not wear, then you can take the same time
to put on
something,
put on some jeans.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's what I'm saying. I'm not being picky on what it is, but if I hold myself to a standard when it comes to my job, that's 5 days, maybe 6 for some people.
And you can't give 2 hours.
But one day for 2 hours, you can't hold that same standard for God. That's craziness to me. I don't understand that. And I don't understand the logic, and maybe some people might judge me for saying this. When moms and dads are all dressed up looking nice for church, but their kid looks like they just rolled out of bed and they're just going straight to church. Like, what is that?
Yeah.
I can't.
I was just like, okay. But yeah, that's true. Like, also you do see some families where the kid got on a suit. You know what I'm saying? I've had a situation. Let me just tell a short little story. I think holding somebody accountable, it takes you making sure that you aren't prideful, that you're not in pride and everything, because it's very easy. It's very easy for those lines to be blurred, Yes. I remember that I joined this one group from my church. This lady, she wanted to start a group on warfare or something. We were reading a book about warfare, and I was like, okay, I'll take this class. And I remember she said something, And the people in the class were like, oh, okay. And I kind of like, I didn't like go against what she said, but I kind of expounded on it so that it wasn't sugarcoated. It was just kind of like, this is what the truth is. And she wanted to speak to me after, and she spoke and she was like, no, you were right. But when people first come to God, sometimes they don't need to know. And it was just like, no. Okay. And then I was telling her, right, I didn't go to her class for 2 weeks because I was like, let me figure out what I'm going to do. And I was going to email her, but God was like, don't email her. Like, I'm going to show you something. Cause I was feeling a little weird. She sent me this long email about how I was unteachable, how I was prideful, how I was just so itching for her to know that I knew the word. She said that I needed to look in the mirror and see how I was a disgrace because I'm young and I'm not learning properly from the elders. And she was judging me in that moment because of my age, because she made me right though, because she didn't like the fact that I said something. And let me tell you first, like what she said was, because I know some of y'all like, what did she say? So in the class, they were having a conversation and someone asked like, oh, okay, well, can you lose your salvation? And she was like, no, because the word says like, if you're saved, you're saved. But I expounded, like I said, yeah, you can't lose it, but you can turn away from God, which will make you lose your salvation. Mm-hmm. You can't just, oh, I'm saved, let me live the rest of my life
the way that you want
wickedly.
Yeah.
And then you die and you be like, oh, but I had salvation. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You can't do that. But she was like, oh, but they don't need to hear that part. They just need, I answered the question, you can't lose your salvation. And I was like, you can't just leave it like that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So to call me all these things because I expounded on the truth of the word, that was being judgmental. So when we're saying like, people do judge, I've had people, how people don't like, oh, you shouldn't wear makeup as a Christian. You shouldn't wear this. You shouldn't. You're not God. Like, it's not like we walking around here in bikinis walking around. You know what I'm saying? It's just.
But let's be clear. Adam and Eve were naked.
Yeah. But also if I want to get my hair done, if I want to get my nails done, that doesn't mean that I'm all of a sudden not of God. So we do understand that there are people who judge, but there's a fine line between being judgmental and prideful and nasty to people versus judging righteously and correction and trying to judge a situation for whether it is of God or it's not.
But is it really judging if you're teaching? Because I see it as teaching.
No, I was referring to how the word says judge them by their fruits. Like when he's talking about how to know a person of God, you judge them by their fruits. It's not judging them. It's recognizing like that doesn't seem like it's of God, and that's how you determine. It's not being judgmental or holding somebody accountable doesn't mean that you're judging them for maybe they slipped and sinned or something. But if you call them on it or tell them like, hey, God, whatever, that doesn't mean you're being judgmental about it. It just means that, to be honest, it shows more love to call them on it because it means that you care about their soul. You care about, you know what I mean? You care about their righteousness. You care about their relationship with God rather than you just letting them run rampant.
No, I absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
That story kind of made me mad. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I had to pray over myself for a quick second because I'm like, why would she even say something like that to you? No, we had
a long email and I remember being like, please stop emailing. And she kept emailing me. And I had to tell her, I was like,
yeah, her spirit's not right.
I was like, we go to the same church. We go to, so let's not act like you're above me. You're not above me. So, and then the next Bible study that I joined, the first thing somebody said to me, mind you, I didn't tell anybody anything. And I think this was God, like kind of like confirming to me. The first thing they said is, don't let anybody judge you and don't let anybody talk down on you because of your age. God has blessed you. And don't let anybody say anything. And I was like,
yeah, because okay, how old was Jesus when he started ministering? Like, so that's why I said age doesn't contribute to
wisdom.
Like, because God was younger than us,
right?
Spitting out wisdom. So it is possible. So I don't like when people don't want to listen because, oh, they're too young to understand. It's just like what God has put in me, it's for me to speak to whomever.
Yeah.
You know,
And a lot of people like to be prideful and judgmental and call it accountability. And I think the way not to do that is to make, because sometimes, you know, you might be struggling with pride and you don't necessarily know it, but the way to realize that is to really dwell with God, and he'll show you. Like, I really feel like your relationship with God is a mirror. Like, you could be sitting here praying and like, God, they doing this thing. You could be pointing the finger at everybody else, and I promise you he's gonna be like, okay, but you X, Y, and Z. But you did it. And you could be like, God, I'm not talking about me. And he like, but you you know what I'm saying? It's a mirror. As they say, don't talk about the speck in your brother's eyes if you have a plank in your own. It's kind of like,
I thought there was a cast a stone one. I thought that's where you were going with it.
no.
The one who's cast a stone. What's that scripture on that one?
When he was writing in the he who is without sin, let him cast the first stone.
Okay, there you
There's
go.
that too, but also don't you're talking about a speck in somebody else's eyes while you have a beam in your eye, meaning you're talking like you don't have issues too. You know?
And there was one growing up that people used to stay at school all the time. You point one finger at someone,
There's
you have three pointing right back at you. So just, you know, be mindful of
Yeah,
that.
and that goes into holding yourself accountable. Not always worried about, not necessarily worried, but not always trying to fight to, I gotta hold this person accountable, I gotta hold this person. Hold yourself accountable too. Matter of fact, hold yourself accountable first. And then,
Yeah, because you can't be like, okay, but what everybody loves to do. Yeah, I know I did this, but so and so did X. X, and it's
do what I
like,
say, not as I do.
No.
What's your example saying? What are you showing?
Yeah, you know, so
I think
accountability is huge.
Yeah. But I know you said that you had a story about
accountability.
Yeah.
Okay, so for me, I guess the biggest story that I wanted to share accountability was when I came back to, when I refound or rededicated my life back to God. Accountability for me was having someone to read scripture with me, pray over me, but making it a habit and not periodically whenever something happened for it to be the way that it was. So as you guys can all tell now, my accountability partner is Marissa. Let me just tell you, I don't play. I'm just kidding. No, my accountability partner is Marissa. I trust what she has to say. I know her intentions and her heart is pure when it comes to correcting me, or I don't like to use the word calling me out because it's not really calling me. It's not, because calling out seems kind of negative, and it's not in a negative way that anything is perceived, at least between the both of us. But she makes me think. She makes me sit there, and sometimes I don't have an answer right away. I just have to be, and then, next day or 2 days later, like, you know what? Remember when you asked me this, 2 days ago? Here's my answer now. I needed some time to process it, think about it. But that is accountability as well, too, to not only hold someone accountable right there, but to be able to come back and revisit that conversation and either say, hey, thank you, or you know what? It didn't make sense to me when you said it 2 days ago, but it makes sense now. Yeah. Or you know what? God revealed something in me within these last 2 days that now I understand where you were coming from. Because I'm not going to lie, there's going to be times where Marissa or I say something to each other and we're like, what is she talking about? It doesn't make sense.
Until you sit and think on it, or God kind of reveals it.
And reveals it to us and just shows me, like, you know what Marissa was saying, what Michelle was saying was so right. Even when it comes to like apologizing for stuff that
or for us asking for help and not trying to do everything for ourselves.
Yeah, because there'll be some times where my spirit's not right, and Marissa will text me out of nowhere and be like, hey, I just felt like I needed to reach out to you. And I'm like, why is she doing this right now?
The
like,
thing is, on my
what
end,
I needed right now.
my end, a lot of times I know she not gonna really want to hear what I'm about to say in those times, like, because sometimes you just don't want to kind of hear it. Not saying anything wrong. It's just,
especially if it's over text message, because I'll sit there and respond back to her, yeah, I get it, thank you.
Yeah, or she'll I'm fine, I don't know what you're talking about. Or she just, if she really don't want to hear it, she won't respond, and then later she'll be like, oh, my bad. Yeah, my bad. I was X, Y, and Z, but I know that she saw it. Yeah. Yeah.
Why you gonna put me on blast?
No,
like
I'm not just talking about you. I was just, that happens in general.
Like, dang, you just basically telling people that I don't be listening to you.
No, you
she does. She really does. And it might not be what I want to hear in the moment, but the thing about it is I can always go back to Marissa and be like, hey, look, when you said it, I just didn't want to receive it, but I get it.
And it's okay. And I'm not going to be like, yeah, see, I told you, or da-da-da. It's just kind of like, okay. Because I think in accountability, we have to also make space for grace, and we have to make space for God to do whatever he wanted to do in that. It's not, I'm holding you accountable, so listen to me, do what I say to do. No, it's, maybe it's correction or planting a seed, or, maybe God puts on your heart to say something or do something, but you have to also allow room for grace, because they might not move at that second. They might not see it the same way. Maybe God has to reveal something to them, how she was saying. So it's important for us to have grace when we are talking about accountability, and also for us to be patient and say things in love. When we say things in love, so that the accountability doesn't feel like a judgment. It doesn't feel like a curse or something like that. You know what I mean? I think the word says, don't allow people to call your blessings curses, or some. I'm gonna say again, don't quote me word for word.
Yeah, we'll find it.
I'll put it down there, but
and post it in the description.
Come at it in a way where people aren't gonna be like, oh, but, because to be honest, a lot of Christians do. The way I guess it's their delivery in the message erases kind of the message. The person doesn't get it because you came at them disrespectful, so it's very important to have grace and patience. I wanted to ask kind of us and them, when it comes to accountability, for people who haven't, I don't want to say they haven't really been held accountable for anything, but they're struggling with accountability. Even something as small as telling somebody, I'm going to pray for you, and you don't do it. Or something as small as, I'm going to call you back, and you just don't do it. Not that you're busy, but you're just saying things, but you're not being held at your word, or things that you're not being held up to your actions. How do we think that someone can grow stronger in accountability, and the accountability for themselves? And also, I wanted to ask you guys, is there any areas where you guys feel that you might need to work on accountability in a particular area? There's something that maybe you don't really hold yourself accountable for that you should,
or people that you hold accountable. And to that point as well too, it's no different when your boss asks you to do something, you do it right away. So why is it that when your parents ask you to do something, you want to hesitate, or like, I'll get to it when I get to it? It's accountability as well. So
how do you think that someone can become more accountable to themselves?
It's crazy that I'm saying this, but y'all see how all these episodes tie in together, because it's really control.
That's true. Surrendering.
To surrender. In order to get to that place, you have to give something away. You have to let go of something. So it's control it's the power of the tongue. To speak, to change the way that you speak around everybody and anybody, because it shouldn't be like, I only speak this way when I'm around friends and family, but I speak this way when I'm in my professional world. It's like, no, you should speak the same way. Now, being playful is completely different, but
be careful what you're
saying, and now that we're on the topic, my favorite word used to be the B word, you know, like I used to call Marissa all the time, be like, B, like, let me tell you what happened. It's just like, and I had to change that out of my, when's the last time I called you saying that? Like, it's been a minute. Like, you know, it's like, I had to like literally, when I surrendered and renewed my life, like let that go and be like, this is now how I want to talk. I wasn't calling her that, and she didn't take it in that sense as well too, but that's not what she is. Like, I don't want to reference my friend as that. As that. You know what I'm saying? Like, even if she wasn't my friend, like, it's not something good to say to someone. So I had to consciously change the way that I spoke to her.
So when you renew your mind, all of those things kind of fall in place. A scripture that's kind of falling in popped up in my head. It's in Proverbs. Now I don't know which one, but it kind of speaks to keeping promises. Don't make a promise and then not keep it. That's we shouldn't do that. So that also speaks to being accountable, and watching what you say. How she was saying, with the power of your tongue, don't say all of these things. Oh, I'm gonna do this, or I'm a X, Y, and Z, but you're not really trying to do it. You know what I'm saying?
Being obedient holds you accountable as well too. Following his word and what he says that, you know, we should and should not be doing. But yeah, like, that's why I wanted to make sure like I threw that in, because like all of these certain things are building towards.
They match together.
They mesh together, because you can't have one without the other.
Even
in order to feed your spirit, like we've been talking about
like
hammering down on everyone. In order to feed your spirit, it's not one thing that does it.
It's everything around you.
Yes, absolutely.
Also, dang, what was it? Oh, when you have an accountability partner, you can't have an accountability. What's wrong with me today? You can't have you can't have an accountability partner that you're not going to be honest with, because that doesn't help you. That doesn't help you to be held accountable, to hold other people accountable, to hold yourself accountable. If you're my accountability partner, but I'm not being honest with you about how I'm feeling, I'm not being honest with you about the things I'm struggling with, I'm not being honest with you about these things.
Merce don't want to tell y'all, but I be lying to her all the time.
I didn't want to say that. She was gonna have to say it. She said it herself.
That's what she was preferencing to.
No, that was God. God said, Michelle, you hear that? That was God. That was conviction.
Because I definitely, Michelle, how you doing? Yeah, I'm fine.
But the thing is, when she say that, I be going on with the conversation, but I know good and well she's not okay. Because sometimes
the only reason why she knows is because Marissa, she manipulates me. Okay,
no, I don't. Okay, no, don't say that. Don't say that. Like, I do not be manipulating people.
Be like asking me questions, and I'm like, "How are you?" Right, and I would think that's where it leaves off. But little do you know, halfway through the day, she's already asked like 20 other things that you're not subconsciously paying attention. She's like,
"That's not manipulation."
I knew you wasn't okay.
That's not manipulation.
I feel like she'd be like trying to. What's that word when you like entrap people?
I be asking questions and she be answering the questions.
No, I'm just joking with you guys right now, but she's
I'm like, hold on, I'm not manipulative. I've been delivered, okay? I've been delivered.
She does not manipulate me in the sense that I was just joking about. No, but I don't know what word I would use, but she does, in the sense like I
kind of like try to nudge you,
like kind of push me to see like if everything's really okay, because some people ask you, are you okay, and you be like, yeah, I'm okay, and you just leave it at that, and then they go through life, and then you see these sad stories of people committing suicide, or people,
you gotta check on your friends.
And it's like, I appreciate that she does that, even if it does sometimes feel like her. It's annoying, or like like it's like, why can't you just leave me alone kind of factor. I'm not saying that's how I feel about her.
No, but I
people
do be.
That's how people react to those kind of check-ins sometimes, because they're responding off of emotion. So it may seem like someone's annoying you, but in all reality, when you sit down and think about it, like, they're just holding you accountable to what you're saying. If you're saying I'm okay, I'm gonna hold you accountable to that. Like, I'm okay. You said you were okay, but 20 minutes down the line, like, are you still okay?
Yeah. But also, I'm holding you accountable to the fact that you said that to being honest in general. So, I think when it comes to accountability, people can, I think the easiest way to start is to get an accountability partner, whether it's I've had to ask my mom, like, help me with my budget, hold me accountable, because, I'll set a budget and then be like, I mean, why do I need to budget if I have, you know what I mean? But hold me accountable to the budget, regardless of who the person is. It might be your friend, it might be your parent, it might be, I don't know who y'all got in your lives, but ask somebody to help you be accountable, because in the beginning, it's very hard to hold yourself accountable when you've been living a life of not doing so, So I want you guys to, like I asked before, you guys to ask yourselves, in what area of your life are you not holding yourself accountable? In what area of you, to who are you not holding accountable? Where aren't you keeping your word? Where aren't your actions and your words aligning? All of those things line up to accountability, Yeah, so I just ask that you ask yourselves that. If you feel comfortable, feel free to comment. If you don't feel comfortable but you want to say something, you can DM us.
Well, we definitely recommend that you get an accountability partner if you are someone who struggles of holding yourself accountable. It makes it so much easier to hold yourself accountable when you have someone there to kind of guide you, nudge you, whatever word you want to use.
Yeah. Also, you can ask God to help you. Now, let me tell you.
Well, that should always be the first thing you do.
Yeah. But if you ask God to hold you accountable, He gonna hold you accountable. So when you start getting convicted, when you start feeling strongly about something, when you start like, you know what I'm saying? Just know, you ask God for it. Just like how, people say, like, the quickest prayer is you ask God to remove somebody, and then He gonna hold you accountable. So just keep that in mind, but don't let that, I was just joking, don't let it scare you away from asking God for it, because he'll help you in the way that's best for you. He'll help you in a gentle way, So yeah, that's accountability. And we're also going to put scriptures in this video, so y'all might want to.
Yeah, because we'll definitely play this game, the accountability
or
game,
some kind of Bible trivia.
Bible
we
trivia.
Want to know, are y'all paying attention?
Or ask a question and wait, to see what kind of responses that we get as well.
Yeah, maybe we'll start putting open form questions on Instagram that has to do with the episode, and then have somebody, like, have people answer. It literally just came to me.
Oh yeah, that'd be a good idea.
Yeah.
Like preface it for like an episode that's coming up.
Yeah.
And
or
ask
one
a
that we've
question.
done. Yeah.
But yeah, but in order to record it, it'd be cool if we say the next episode is on forgiveness. Ask a question today about
who do you need to. You could say, who do you need to forgive?
And then we could use that to.
Yeah, not as brainstorming on camera. But thank you guys. Thank you guys so much. I hope you guys are enjoying these episodes
as much as we are.
Yeah.
I think you guys can kind of tell we're kind of loosening up.
Yeah, a little bit. In the beginning, we're kind of like, and
definitely did not see me laughing in the first couple.
Yeah, and we kind of have a little bit of a format. Yeah, we have a little bit of a format. So yeah, we hope to see you guys next video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow our Instagram. All of the things. We do have a playlist that's called All in One Place. I think that's what I named it. But you can really just push the playlist and it'll go from episode to episode to episode to episode if you need to catch up. So feel free and get in your word, because we're going to test you.
And turn on your post notifications as well too, guys.
All right.
And until next time, we'll see you guys later.
Oh, sorry. I cut you off. All right, y'all. Bye.
Putting in work. I'm putting in work. I answer the call.